What if right now, in a single, silent instant, the internet was gone? Not a server crash, not a cable cut. A complete and permanent deletion of every byte, every packet, every digital ghost that haunts the modern world. Your photos, your emails, your bank account, all of it vanished. Most of us immediately think of the social chaos, the panic, but that's not what would kill us. The real killer, the one that would bring our civilization to its knees, is something we never even see. A ghost in the machine that, once exorcised, leaves behind an apocalypse of quiet, grinding paralysis. Hey, I'm Leo, and this is Everyday Ifs. Today, we're unplugging the world. Not to see if we can live without memes, but to understand the invisible digital skeleton that holds our entire society upright, and to see what happens when it turns to dust. Let's meet Ren. He's an urban archivist, someone who loves the tangible history of city maps and old photographs. Right now, he's in a coffee shop, scrolling through digitized 19th century blueprints on his tablet. At 11:04 a.m., the screen goes blank. Not a 404 error. Just nothing. His Wi-Fi icon is gone. His cellular bars, gone. He reboots it. Still, nothing. Around him, a strange symphony begins. First, a wave of confused muttering. Then, the frantic tapping of screens. The payment terminal at the counter is frozen. The barista's face is a mask of confusion. The music has stopped. For the first time in a decade, the room is filled only with the sound of human voices, and they are becoming increasingly alarmed. This is the first minute of the Great Deletion. Our first instinct is to think about communication. No texts, no calls. But the first system to actually break isn't social, it's logistical. Think about a single container ship, a metal behemoth the size of a skyscraper laid on its side, crossing the Pacific. It's carrying everything from car parts to antibiotics to cheap plastic toys. Its crew isn't navigating by the stars. They're guided by a constant stream of GPS data. Without it, they are blind. But worse, the ship's manifest. The digital document detailing every single container, its contents, its destination, and its owner, that's gone too. That one ship, multiplied by the 50,000 other massive cargo vessels at sea right now, just became a fleet of gigantic floating mystery boxes with no idea where to go. The global supply chain doesn't just slow down, it suffers a catastrophic, instantaneous seizure. Back in the city, Ren sees the immediate effect. The gas station on the corner has a line of cars spilling into the street. The pumps still have fuel, but the digital payment system is dead. They can't accept credit cards. They can't even open the cash drawer without a digital signal. Cash, for a fleeting moment, is king. But how much do you have on you? Enough for a tank of gas? A week of groceries? Ren checks his wallet. $27. He suddenly feels a cold, primal fear. His life savings, a number in a banking app, no longer exist. He doesn't have a bank statement, a piece of paper to prove that wealth was ever his. This is where the first real domino falls. Trust. Our entire economic system is built on a digital promise, a shared ledger that says who owns what. When that ledger vanishes, ownership becomes a matter of opinion. The stock market, a frantic dance of light and electricity, doesn't crash. It simply ceases to be. Trillions of dollars of abstract value evaporate, not because of a panic, but because the very concept of a share was a digital agreement. The world hasn't just lost its money, it has lost the idea of money. By the end of day one, the power grid begins to flicker. You might think the grid is a simple mechanical system. Burn fuel, turn turbine, make electricity. But in reality, it's a terrifyingly complex balancing act managed by algorithms. Power load has to be matched to demand on a millisecond by millisecond basis. The programs that did this, that shunted power from a solar farm in one state to a city 3 states away, are gone. Human operators, scrambling in darkened control rooms, are trying to manage it manually, using landlines that are now hopelessly overwhelmed. It's like trying to perform brain surgery with a sledgehammer. Blackouts become inevitable. First, rolling brownouts, then entire regions plunge into darkness. For Ren, the city is transforming. The endless hum of civilization is gone. No air conditioners, no distant sirens, no electronic billboards. The silence is deafening, punctuated by shouting and the growing realization that help isn't coming. He decides to walk home, across the city. The traffic lights are out, causing gridlock that quickly turns into a permanent parking lot of abandoned cars. He sees a supermarket. The automatic doors are wedged open. Inside, people are not looting TVs. They're grabbing water, canned goods, batteries. The freezers, their compressors silent, are already beginning to weep onto the linoleum floors. The air is thick with the smell of anxiety and thawing meat. It's an apocalypse of inventory, infrastructure, and information. So the food is spoiling and the lights are out. But what's the truly counterintuitive failure? The one thing we depend on more than power or communication? It's water. Municipal water systems are masterpieces of invisible engineering. Pumps, purification plants, flow regulators, all automated. That automation is now gone. Without the software to monitor pressure and operate pumps, water stops flowing to high-rise buildings. Filtration and chemical treatment plants go offline. Within a week, the water that does trickle out of some taps is no longer safe to drink. A cholera outbreak in a 21st century city is no longer a historical horror. It's a mathematical certainty. This is the apocalypse of quiet, grinding paralysis. It's not the rioting. It's not the loss of knowledge. It is the cascading failure of deeply interconnected, automated systems that we have wrapped around the globe like a nervous system. We outsourced our planet's life support to a machine, and that machine just had its plug pulled. Let's imagine the sheer scale of the information we've lost. The internet holds an estimated 60 or 70 zettabytes of data. What does that even mean? A zettabyte is 1 trillion gigabytes. It's a number so large it feels fake. Let's ground it. The entire printed collection of the US Library of Congress is about 10 terabytes. To equal just 1 zettabyte, you'd need the information from 100 billion libraries of Congress. Stacked, that many books would reach far beyond the moon. We have lost a library of cosmic proportions. This isn't just Wikipedia and family photos. It's the entirety of modern science. The CERN particle accelerator, its petabytes of experimental data are gone. The Human Genome Project, gone. Decades of climate modeling, astronomical observations, medical research, erased. We've been blasted back to a pre-digital dark age, but it's worse. We have the physical tools of a futuristic society, MRI machines, gene sequencers, skyscrapers, but we've lost the instruction manuals. We're like a child sitting in the cockpit of a 747, surrounded by buttons we no longer understand. Weeks later, Ren has found a small community in his neighborhood. They're pooling resources. Someone knew how to siphon gas. Someone else was a nurse. Ren, the archivist, has become surprisingly useful. He has paper maps. He knows the city's old infrastructure, where forgotten freshwater springs might be. The survivors are rediscovering old knowledge, passed by word of mouth. Society is rebooting from scratch. The world's population, unable to be sustained by the broken supply chains, would plummet. Not in a dramatic, explosive event, but in a slow, quiet, agonizing decline from starvation, disease, and despair. Humanity would survive. We are resilient. We would form smaller agrarian communities. We would rediscover engineering and science. But something profound would be lost forever. The internet wasn't just a tool. It was the first thing our species ever built that was truly global. It was a shared consciousness, a messy, chaotic, beautiful, and terrifying extension of our collective mind. For a brief moment in our history, we connected every corner of our world, weaving a web of light and thought. Losing it wouldn't just be losing convenience. It would be losing a fundamental part of what we had become. It would be a lesson, written in silence and darkness, that the most powerful structures we build are often the most fragile and the most invisible. And we wouldn't realize what we truly had until we were standing in the quiet, analog rubble of its absence.